Guys, it is Hellmouth Hotline once again. I am your host, Rodney Stewart. We're getting into Buffy the Vampire Slayer once more. We're getting close to the end of season 1 right now, and this episode is called The Puppet Show. Now, this one was one that I was kind of going to skip over, but I'm glad I didn't, because there is a nice little twist at the end of this episode that was just beautifully executed. So, let's get into it. This is going to be swift tonight because I was just reading over my notes for this episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which is episode 9 of season 1. That's called The Puppet Show, and I don't want to give away too much towards the end of this episode. As I said in last night's review of Buffy, I feel that in a few of the episodes in season 1, it's probably going to happen throughout all the seasons, but again, it's been a long time, 15 plus years since I've actually watched any of the series properly. Yes, I kind of feel that episodes are inspired by something pre-existing, and The Puppet Show has it in the name, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It's about vampires, horror type stuff. The Puppet Show, what's the first thing pops into your head when you think about puppets and horror and all that sort of stuff? Child's Play, of course. So that's pretty much how this episode kind of sets itself up. It does go in that general direction, and at the beginning there's an annual talent show, and Giles, he's been roped into running it. There's a student called Morgan, he auditions as a ventriloquist with a dummy called Sid, and he does his audition, and he's awful at it, he's terrible, you can see the lips move and everything, and then just when you think they're going to get kicked off the stage, the puppet starts speaking in a really deep voice. So, as I say, it does have all the hallmarks of heading towards a possessed demon doll. And the setup to this episode, everything that's going on throughout it, and if I do say too much, I'll give it away, but through the course of the episode, of course, people start getting killed and whatnot, and suspicion is thrown towards Morgan and this ventriloquist dummy. But there's an interesting twist to the episode coming up into the last 15 to 20 minutes of the episode, and I don't want to go into that because it will completely destroy it for you. And out of the entire series, this is probably one of the ones I really enjoyed, just because of how surprised I was at how well it actually hit me, seeing that there's at the end of the episode, you're not expecting it. It gets a little bit emotional at the very end. I found through Buffy the Vampire Slayer, there's small, minute moments, like it's literally something will happen in the span of a few seconds, and it will actually, if you're a sensitive type of viewer like myself, you may feel a little tear welling up, or a little lump in the throat, but very quickly that happens. But then we have a little bit of comic relief to close out the episode. But this is definitely an episode I would highly recommend you checking out and hanging through it. Don't write it off as a Child's Play rip-off, because it is trying to lull you into that false sense of security. So definitely go and check out this episode, and indeed the entire season. This has been a production of Coins Edge Media. Check out my social media links in the show notes. Thank you so much for listening.